G'day everyone, this is Rangadad. This isn't financial advice, it's just the way I'm looking at the market. Help me get things in my head before the start of the day. Bitcoin moved a bit quicker than I thought it would. Where's the... Oh man, did I get rid of the box? That was dumb. Oh no, I had it on here. Yeah. We drew this yesterday, thinking that it might take a few days to get down here. Bitcoin had other ideas. What's interesting about this is on the hourly, we haven't really retested that 50 EMA. So that's something to keep in mind here. I mean, the tag on this level was nuts. The low was 63.092 and we hit 63.0, sorry, the target was 63.087 just based on fibs. But I'm looking at this as at least a temporary bounce. I've closed most of my shorts on the way down here, and I have started to build longs or build more longs. I'll probably close most of them out, or at least a fair chunk around that 50 EMA, so around 64,350. Just because it's going to be probably around I think that's the 20 EMA there as well. Really need to check that. Hang on. What are we showing? 50 and 200. So that's sorry, so that's the 50 EMA there. That's the 200 in blue. I don't know why I've used these colors. That confuses me. So yeah, we haven't really confirmed that the 200 on the hourly. We broke through it and kept going. Now it was on expanding BBWP or just Bollinger Band expansion. That is contracting now. So, and you've got the other side of the Bollinger Band coming into the same sort of level as the 200, and you got the 50 EMA coming into the same sort of level as well. We haven't really got the kind of W pattern yet that I would like to see as well. At least not on the hourly, but even on the shorter time frames, we still haven't got that. So what does that mean? Probably I'm looking for short-term upside at least into that 64,400 region, that sort of area. Can we keep going is the question. Like, have we made this level our bounce level? Sorry. There is a fair chance, and the main reason being there isn't actually any vectors in here. As I said yesterday, the 60K region, and I would actually go down to 60K. There's some other confluence down around the 60,000. Could potentially hit the 59,500 region, but there's actually not a lot of hourly vector candles. You got to come basically all the way back down here just to pick up the bottom end of this one, which I don't know that Bitcoin's going to get there. If it does, if it's going down that far, you'd almost think that this run was over. Like, that would be a massive pullback. You're basically wiping out all the gains from these two pivots. I don't think that's going to happen at this stage. The thing that concerns me a little is the stock market still. I'll have a look at that in a sec. it's still undecided at the moment, the stock market, but there are some good signs that we may actually just go up from here. So yeah, looks like a reasonable spot for a turnaround. Closing the last hourly candle within the Bollinger Band here is a good sign for at least a push a little bit further. If it bounces off the middle band of the Bollingers, then that could be a little bit more concerning, because that will probably mean more continuation than anything. But at this stage, it's primed for a short-term bounce. The stochastic momentum is actually quite low on the hourly time frame. So the longer-term time frames, what do we got there? So you got a 4-hour and an 8-hour. They're still postured to the downside. Don't worry too much about the longer-term ones at this stage, but over the next week or so, we could actually see more downside, mainly because of this one here. So stochastic momentum on the daily is postured quite heavily to the downside. We're finally getting some volume through too. So up until the US market last night, the volume wasn't huge at all. We were barely breaking past the previous days. But now that we have some volume, it makes it a little bit more interesting. So key levels here, if we can sort of close above that highly traded area, that would be quite positive. So the most traded level. We've also got the top of the Gaussian channel. Closing above that would be quite positive as well. The issue is we've still got this stochastic momentum to the downside. Now, obviously, on the daily, that can change quite slowly, and it can change anywhere. But you kind of want it to reset before we get a real push to the upside. So what does that mean? I mean, that's an oversold signal there on the bullish smart money indicator. So it could mean a bounce. Could mean we chop around here a little bit. Like if we close the next day somewhere inside this candle, the stochastic momentum is still going to be moving to the downside. So it could only take 5 days, and we're down into this area for the reset. It's just whether or not it's going to keep going further. This, I think the 200 EMA and the mid band of the Gaussian channel are probably targets. That's around your 60K. That's sort of why I have that 60K level in the back of my mind. If it comes down there, it may actually just briefly wick into this middle band here. So the middle of the channel. But to remain sort of overall bullish and to think that we're going to break out, I think it really has to pivot somewhere around here or higher, obviously. So looking for as big a daily stochastic momentum reset as possible. BBWP is still decreasing, which isn't a bad thing. I was a little surprised by the speed of this move, but when we look at the liquidations that it took out and the orders that it picked up, it's not too surprising, really. If we go to the heat map, let's go to 3-day. Yeah, we go to, let's say, month. You can see here there was fairly quick drop through some of these levels. We haven't really picked up proper, or the total sort of volume of liquidations that I thought it might here, but most of them are fairly recent, sort of in the last day or two, last day. Once we get below this level, we could go quite quickly. So that level there is about 62,700, say, around there. If we clear this wick, there's going to be a lot of liquidations. We're talking billions. So 2.16, 1.2, 1.85, 2.16, and then it drops off considerably. So I think 61.5 has to be in the conversation if we continue, and if we break below that sort of 62,600, I think that is an interesting level. But I think shorter term, it looks like we'll probably bounce here, and we'll probably be taking out a lot of this. So key level to watch on the way up is 65,138. There's still this liquidity down here. It is fairly recent, but we also on the funding rates, we haven't really seen a proper bottoming signal here that we would normally get. So this here with a lot of red in it is a pretty good signal that you're going to find at least a temporary bottom. Again here, decent signal with a lot of red, had a bounce. This one here didn't really get that much. But what we did get was actually a bit of a tick up, bit of a change in direction of the open interest as well. So it has flattened off now. So we have hit the 50 EMA on the 15-minute. So we could get another pullback. And what you're looking for here for a turnaround, or what I'm looking for here for a turnaround is, I mean, that's a pretty good sign that we're going to potentially keep going up with sort of pullbacks within the hourly. But if we go in here, we're hitting that 50 EMA there. Pullbacks into this sort of region, it may not come down as far as I'm going to draw here, but kind of want pullbacks into this sort of area, potentially to the bottom of the Bollinger's here. And then you want to move up. You'll hit the level over to the left there, come back down, basically retest this level here. So potential pullback, push up into this level, bit of resistance there, pull back down, retest this, and you get like a proper W formation. That would be quite bullish. That would kind of confirm this as a bounce level as well. But I don't know, it's pretty heavy at the moment as well. So you've got to be a little bit careful with these. Probably try and be in and out reasonably quickly. Bollinger Bands are expanding a bit there, which is interesting. On a MACD expansion as well, so we could actually push a little higher. Sometimes you do get a W pattern like this with a lower low for the right hand part of the W, but typically they're not as strong. So yeah, stochastic momentum's to the upside on the 15-minute, and that would be, so the hourly, the hourly is kind of resetting, which is the orange one, and then that's the 2 hour is the red one. So in general, it looks pretty well set for a decent bounce here. The 200 on the 15 seems like a pretty good target. 64,500-ish level. Not a lot of Not a lot of vector candles to recover up here, which is interesting. So it could actually push higher. Most of them have been recovered on the way down. Yeah, there's not a lot at all. That's very interesting. What do we got over here? Yeah, there's not a lot there. A little wick here at 62.5 roughly. It could be an important level, as we've pointed out before. Another one down here at, say, 62-ish mark, which is kind of that 0.5 level on the fibs as well. And then, even though there wasn't one on the hourly, there is vectors here on the 15-minute. So, are there targets that could see us move to 60k? Yes. At this stage, that's not my base case, but we just got to be watching pretty closely what happens around this level. Breaking of this level here on a even 15-minute candle is probably going to be pretty bearish, I think. Just the fact we've had a pretty strong bounce off that. Yeah, I'd be expecting 62 if we break below that. If we confirm it on the hourly as well, then I'd say 62k incoming. And I guess the bias is kind of in that direction just based off this candle. Bitcoin doesn't have to keep going down here, even though the stochastic momentum's down on the daily. But it kind of, it does look reasonably likely. So just be on the lookout for those turnarounds. Yeah, I think if we get to 65,200, I'd be a little surprised on this bounce. But stranger things have happened, and what you can get is recovery of this vector candle. Sometimes it can take a little while. Just trying to find a good example. Most of these, when we get vectors at the top, they don't necessarily recover much of them straight away. So it's kind of not looking great. This one here was recovered 2 days later, at least up to that 50% line. What we may see is a recovery up to here today. So we may go to that 50%, which would a little bit higher, would give us the 65,100, almost the top of that daily. If it's a temporary bounce, I wouldn't see it going that high. When Bitcoin starts dropping, it tends to drop reasonably quickly. You don't necessarily see the recovery of those vectors straight away when they're at the top. It's more when they're at the bottom, you'll see them recovered pretty quickly. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment. NASDAQ, I mean, technically a green day, but didn't really close above the previous day's trading at all. Still looks like it's trying to push higher, but as we said, there was too many big transactions at this level. I think it will come back into here. Interesting that the Gaussian channels just started to turn green as well, though. Pull back into this level here would be quite bullish, I think. Go to S&P 500. That has closed now. Oh, it looked like before I went live, it looked like this was actually going to close on a new high, but close is 576,248. that open there is 760. Oh, it has. So that's actually closed on a new high, even above the open of this candle. So that's actually somewhat bullish. I mean, the smart money indicator is still trending up, even though BBWP is dropping. This box here is still a target, but at this stage, hasn't really shown signs that it wants to roll over yet. So keep that in mind. Equal weight did again close on a new high as well. So there's a fair bit of breadth in the market, and I think it's around the news of extra stimulus from for the Chinese market. IWM's still kind of chopping sideways and down, which isn't bad. It's sort of resetting stochastic momentum. I would expect once this is reset and we get an expansion of BBWP, this is going to go pretty hard in one direction. At this stage, that direction seems like it's going to be up. So keep that in mind. XLY, XLP is still, I mean, it looks like it's rolling over a little bit. Again, it all seems like it's a matter of whatever pullback we've got, and it could just be that we're having a pullback in time rather than pullback in price, as I mentioned yesterday. Whatever pullback we've got looks like it's going to be temporary. There's still a lot of sort of strength and resilience in this market. The only thing is whether something in the market breaks, and well, something's probably broken. It's just we haven't found out about it yet. I did hear something that suggested what it could be actually. There's the overnight funding rates. I think the banks were about to really struggle, and then that's why the Fed did the 0.5 instead of the 0.25. So it was the interbank funding rates were screwed up. So just keep an ear out for that. That was coming from someone with who knows people on Wall Street, but haven't obviously had that confirmed or anything yet. And the charts are still sort of suggesting that we're not going into any major recession yet. VIX is jumping a little bit. Nothing too concerning there. Skew actually came down a bit today. So again, this would kind of suggest that we are going to pull back a bit. This is a fairly early indicator, as we've seen. It's just whether or not S&P 500 is going to actually do that or not. Global liquidity did drop a little bit, so S&P 500 kind of bucked that. But yeah, look, still waiting on a healthy pullback. If a healthy pullback comes along with some really bad financial news or something, then it may end up being more than a healthy pullback, just based on how jittery this market is at the moment. Chinese stocks are still pushing. I think, I mean, it could start to pull back. I did hear today that brokers were struggling to actually fill all the orders. Sounds like retail is really FOMOing in pretty hard into the Chinese market. So this could push. It's going to be a really hard one to short. This is just wiping out so much liquidity with people going short. So massive short squeeze here. I think this is still a target. If we pull back before that, then it might be a shallower pullback than what people think. And probably what I thought. My thoughts on the pullback were somewhere around a 618 fib into this level here. I'll just put that on the charts. You'd be looking for some pretty solid turnaround if you were going to buy in before that. But I think that sort of area there would be healthy. I thought it was going to do it after hitting this. But yeah, massive short squeeze here. If we do reach all the way into there, I don't actually think we will come back into that box. I think it's too far. It is sort of in the golden pocket-ish, but that's a bottom of the golden pocket. You're probably looking more in this area here. Maybe 618 would be sort of the top of this level, which seems like it would be a reasonable bounce point. So sort of let's put that in there for the time being. You could probably even just expand it into that sort of area. Pretty wide target, but at this stage we need to see a proper turnaround on this yet. Stochastic momentum still to the upside. Very hard to short that. Chinese 50 is going on a massive push as well. One thing with these markets is they are very, very oversold, so they've got a long way to run. How far the stimulus will take them, we don't know yet. But if we do get the general markets running into 2025 and even start of 2026, then you would expect this to get pretty high up. I think you'll probably see a turnaround on this pretty soon as well. And this level here, that there is a pretty good spot for a bounce. And the reason why is we can see, where's my brush? There we go. We can see a W pattern forming here. Higher low there, push up, come back down into this level, and then away we go. That'd be very, very bullish over the over the course of months, really. Which, if we get that, be on the lookout for a pretty decent run into the start of 2025. That UK 100. Don't know why I've got the fibs on that. UK 100 is just sideways at the moment. Not really getting much read from that. Stochastic momentum's right smack bang in the middle. Yeah. Boring market to be in at the moment. Japanese market. Expecting more of a pullback here, probably into the bottom of the Gaussian channel, around that 36,250. So other markets seem to be pulling back a little, even though the S&P and NASDAQ haven't really yet. TLT, I kind of expect this to come back a little bit just based on apparently Powell suggested that rate cuts aren't going to be as quick as what some people may think. So generally, rates go down, this goes up. And yeah. So probably a little bit more pullback on TLT, probably at a 95 level. Look for a bounce there. High yield junk, still high. If we see this starting to roll over, then there's probably more downside to come. US 2-year, 10 years jumping a little bit still. Yeah, the 2 years finding a bit of support here. And you probably see this fluctuate over the next few months, depending on what the Fed says and does. But in general, I think it's found a pretty good level here for a little bit. Actually, it may even pop back up. So if the 2-year pops up a little bit, if the Fed gets everyone thinking that rates aren't going to go as low as quick as what they are, because the market's basically priced in a recessionary type cutting cycle. So if they convince them that it's not going as quick, then this will probably jump up because the 2-year will become higher than the 10-year again. We could even get inversion again, which is fairly typical of the yield curve before a recession. It can chop around and jump around this inversion, uninversion for a while. Copper, decent pullback. That's our target there. Gold, we didn't get the 2,700, but yeah. Support level around the 2,500 mark. It's going to be in a box somewhere around here, I'd say. Silver pulling back as well. Still not outperforming gold as much as we would like, but it will eventually. US oil, kind of undecided today. Still expect this pullback a little bit more. But then I think the next run is going to be up, and I think it's going to be a pretty decent run, probably up into the 75, 76 level. Dixie, it's still just refusing to die here. Yeah, probably a little bit more sideways and chop down before we get a bounce. Stochastic momentum looks like it's trying to go back to the upside. I'd like to see a full reset first, but doesn't necessarily have to happen. BBWP is resetting though, so the next move will be pretty decent, I'd say. Yeah, nothing to really write home about. Aussie dollar's still pushing higher, which is interesting given the Dixie was moving up as well. So it's just on the back of the euro weakening a bit. Where's the Brazilian at? So the Brazilian found support here at that key level that we had in there from ages ago. Looks like it's trying to reverse, but if the Dixie does jump and this will push down, most currencies will get weaker against it. Money supply is still going up. Let's see, have we got another read on these yet? Nah. Surprised. July. Still haven't even got an August read. What the hell? Anyway. Kind of looks like it's trying to roll over there, actually. Auto loans are still up. Aussie home price index, where's that off? So it's still going up. Generally, if we're going to see a recession, you're not going to be seeing these still trending up. Now, that's an old read. Realistically, we want to see September's read, which we'll wait and see when that updates. Percentage of stocks above the 50. It's moving back up. So again, fair bit of breadth in the market. Yeah, Mag 7's still trying to push higher, but kind of looks like it's rolling over. Stochastic momentum's coming down as well. So yeah, it looks like we're due for a reset back into these moving averages. I think the 100 EMA is probably an important one here. Yeah. Might leave that on this chart. Tesla, I think, still going nuts. Probably going to find a bit of resistance here, though, I'd say. And we are getting close to, we could push higher, actually. We're getting close to the robo-taxi announcements and things over the next week or week and a half. So for this to keep going, push up into that news would not surprise me. So we could even push the all-time high here around that $300 level, and then pull back on the actual news event. Video, got a lot of the biggest stocks actually wedging at the moment. So, sorry. There is obviously a smaller wedge in here, which probably goes back a bit further even. Yeah, I mean, be looking for bounces around here. It needs to break this top level though. If it breaks that level, then obviously new all-time highs are on the cards. But a decent reset of stochastic momentum would be good first. I think Apple is similar. So Apple's got a bit of, Apple looks like it just broke out. Interesting. Apple had a bit of a trend line down there as well. Could be a fake out, but that's a pretty good break. You're looking for the retest, and then onwards and upwards. Stochastic momentum is now in the bullish control zone. BBWP is up, so it could keep running here. Decent break on Apple. Amazon not looking so healthy though. Just a shitty chart on Amazon, to be honest. Probably a bigger pullback into the 200 potentially before finding some support, just based on stochastic momentum still on the down. How long's earnings away? End of October for earnings. So pull back into earnings potentially, and then going to push up. Meta, well, Meta's broken out of its little. Kind of missed this. Wasn't really watching Meta. It's not something I'm super interested in, but knowing what they're doing with AR goggles and stuff now, Meta's setting itself up to be the next Apple. They just want to be everywhere, I think. AMD, where's Airbnb at? That's funny. For those that were watching, I said Airbnb was a pretty good buy around this level. Just the financials on this company are really strong. Even though, people, if we go into a recession, people aren't going to take as many holidays and stuff. I think Airbnb is going to be still performing pretty well. SMCI looks like it might be finding a base here too. So there's a couple of stocks that are coming off decent lows that are probably reasonable buys. Airbnb looks like it wants to fill a few gaps first before it runs again. Rejection off that 100. All right. Total market cap's going to come into a fair bit of support around the 2.11 level. So again, that would suggest maybe more downside today. Sol probably, yeah, again, be good for Sol to base off the 140 level again. Whiff has just gone, fuck you guys, I'm going up. Which could be a little bit of money rolling into memes, but at the same time, Pepe seems to be moving, obviously different percentages, but moving with Bitcoin still. So Pepe, I think, needs to come back into the 8/1000ths level before it goes again. Have a quick look at ETH. ETH is just struggling with this lower part of this channel, hey? Need to break above that for ETH to be looking strong. Don't know that it'll go much lower than this, to be honest, though. Well, I mean, stochastic momentum's high and postured down. Not much apart from, yeah, I mean, this is a highly traded level in here at about 2300. Some vector candle recovery to do on the way. So, yeah, look for ETH to sort of base around even 2400, to be honest. That'd be an interesting W pattern, but essentially we've got a W forming here. That's a very long, very big extension to come back into that, but it's certainly still doable. So yeah, somewhere in that 24 to 23 level, 23.7 ish for ETH. I might just put a box around that, see if it hits our target. That's the bullish zone for ETH. If we break through that, then I wouldn't be confident that ETH is going to go higher anytime soon. Joshua with the rocket symbol, eh? What do we got? Looks like it's come back down a little bit again. Let's go back into the shorter time frames. Yeah, it's looks like it's rejected off that 50 EMA there. As I said, you're looking for another bounce around this, the bottom of this Bollinger Band, so around 63,372, I think, would be a pretty good level. Just got to be careful though, because it has looked like it's going to do the same thing before yesterday. I was watching this. I did actually put a partial long at this point, and obviously it didn't play out. I was running some pretty heavy shorts though at the same time, so still worked out. It's just I'm stuck in a long from here, which obviously I've added to down the bottom here. And I've still got some shorts running from around this level, just as protection. More like I'm more long than I am short at the moment. It's more as a protection for my longs. But yeah, if we pull back here and sort of break up, pull back in, I'll be looking to close out my shorts. If it looks like we're going to bounce off that level. All right. I think that is everything I was going to cover today. Yeah, there is a lot of liquidity up here, up to the 65k level. That would be some vector recoveries, so keep on the lookout for that. But At the same time, we do still have some liquidity down into the 62.5 orders and actual liquidation levels. Open interest is flat at the moment, so the fact it hasn't dropped off means I think we will actually, if we do pull back a little bit more, we are going to push higher. But yeah, it hasn't really shown any topping signals or bottoming signals at the moment. So yeah, looks like pull back and then push up higher, at least into 64 for, but I'd say it'd potentially go a little bit higher than that even. And push up, pull back, push up again would be pretty good sign of a turnaround. And so after that, sorry, I mean, this does concern me. There is a fair bit of liquidity down here still, but if we go back 3 months, so obviously we've got a fair bit of liquidity coming into the charts. Up here around the 67k mark, that is sort of a first target to the upside. Sorry, yeah, 67k mark. And then obviously after that, if we keep running, it's straight into this, 70 to 71 level. But there is a fair chunk down here, and I mean the way the charts are looking, they are looking heavy. So I think moves up are probably going to be met with selling for the short term, maybe the first week of October or so. But yeah, be looking for some bounces around that 71, 60 to 61k level. Seems fair. All right. I think that'll do for today. Nothing else I can